Halinka is a professional coach, author, and the creator of The Happy and Healthy Place. As a professional coach, Halinka helps her professionals skyrocket their life purpose and passion in their health, relationships, and career. Halinka lives in Chatham.
The challenge is, I think there's actually a really big stigma about overwhelm and stress and even reaching out for help that actually prevents us from getting help. And today I really want to make sure that we actually break that stigma. We start to get these questions and we start to get these thoughts and beliefs of things like, well, everybody is stressed, so why do I need to actually get help? Or my friend has it way worse than I do, or even I should be able to handle this myself. And really those questions and those thoughts that we talk to ourselves about really become a hindrance and stop us out from getting help in the first place. So let's break that stigma right now. Because the reality is that each one of us have a tipping point to what becomes too much, right? A tipping point really of too much stress and a tipping point of too much overwhelm. And we can't compare one person's tipping point with the other. The reality is stress and overwhelm, which really do work together, right? Like the more stress we have, the more overwhelm we start to feel. And then the more overwhelm we start to feel, the more stress we start to feel. And the reality is that stress and overwhelm has this compound effect on our bodies, both from a physical health perspective, but also a mental health perspective, okay? We talk about compound interest being a really awesome thing at the bank for our investments, but it's a really terrible thing when it actually comes to our bodies. And it's really that compound effect is the reason why we cry over spilled milk, right? So you have this event where something happens and you drop your coffee or your kid throws the cup on the floor and the milk spills everywhere. And we start to actually have that overwhelm, or we start to have that emotional response where we break down. Now here's the thing, the spilled milk wasn't the event that actually ruined everything, okay? The spilled milk was actually the straw that broke the camel's back. You already had a shaky foundation because of all the chronic stress and overwhelm you were already experiencing, that one seemingly small, insignificant event was a thing that actually sort of broke everything down and maybe caused that sort of reaction that you didn't really like. And so when we're talking about reaching out help, right, we want to start to think about reaching out help for someone who's actually going to be our side. When we start to reach out for help, we're going to actually seek help so that we can actually have an unbiased opinion, someone who's able to help us see the patterns, help us see the limiting beliefs, help us see the reasons to really why we're actually stuck in the first place, which a lot of times those are the things that we can't see ourselves because we're really in the tunnel vision of actually feeling it, of experiencing it, and of living it. Great question, right? This goals of actually seeking help. So let's actually kind of back up a little bit before we answer that question, because there's so many different avenues and methods of seeking help, right? So different categories, different types of therapists. So today I just want to make sure that we're going to focus on only two. So we're going to talk about the therapy route and as well as the coaching route, okay? So let's start first to why someone would seek a therapist versus a coach. So I like to explain it to my clients at this way, at this most basic level, okay? Therapy is going to be there when things really aren't great at all, and you're going to seek a therapist to help you become better from your mental and physical and emotional standpoint. Where working with a coach, you're good, but things aren't great. Okay. Now there are some overlap when you're working with a therapist or a coach. Both are actually going to help you see the patterns that you're actually doing, the patterns of why you're doing things. Both are going to help you with your limiting beliefs, and both of them are going to actually help you establish goals and help you take action towards your goals. But really working with a therapist is actually going to be there to more support your mental and emotional health and well-being. And working with a therapist is also going to be really important if there's any sort of trauma in the background to be able to help you move forward, getting past that trauma and learning to actually not just deal with it and heal it, but also manage it so that you're not having that issue in the long-term run. Okay. Whereas working with a coach is going to be there to actually help with your self-esteem, help with personal development, and helping really move forward to actually achieving the goals so that you're thriving in life and not just actually standing exactly where you are. One of the goals that you're going to have with working with a therapist or a coach is actually moving forward so that you're actually helping with your mental emotional and physical well-being. One thing really to keep in mind is a coach like myself, although I may be trauma informed, coaches are not mental health specialists. So that's going to be a real big key to actually distinguish between the two. One of the things to kind of keep in mind is that when you actually seek out therapy or seek out coaching, one session is not going to fix anything. Okay, so working with both a therapist and a coach is going to be a little bit of a time investment so that you're able to actually work and heal through all the things that you're actually there for. So as you leave that first session, you actually may feel a little bit more overwhelmed because you're actually potentially going to be talking about things that actually are a little bit challenging for you. You may be bringing up things that you actually have never really brought up before or even talked to someone before. So that first appointment is going to be really, really important to make sure that you feel really safe, you feel really secure, and that you actually really trust the practitioner that you're working with. So what I recommend to all my clients is to actually have a conversation before you have your first appointment. So as you're actually booking your appointment, it's actually fully acceptable and in my opinion, actually welcomed to have an email or have a phone call conversation so you're able to get any of your questions answered. You're able to kind of build a rapport with the person already before you have that first appointment, and you're able to get any answers for any hesitations that you may already be feeling. Okay, really the first session is going to be building a safe environment, building that rapport, building that connection, and making sure that you actually feel safe enough to trust the person because it is going to be a vulnerable position that you're actually in. The challenge with both therapy and coaching is cost. And I think honestly, cost is probably the biggest hindrance to why people don't seek out therapy or coaching. So a couple of things just really to keep in mind is that your workplace insurance a lot of times actually has licensed therapists actually covered. So that's something to please keep in mind. A lot of places actually have EAP programs, so your employee assistance programs, that you can actually have counselors on the phone to help you for both workplace and as well as personal challenges that you're actually going through. Now, another thing to actually ask sort of therapists and coaches is sometimes they actually have a sliding scale cost. So that's just a question to be able to ask. Not everybody does, but you know what I mean? There are a lot of therapists and coaches that do that depending on your income so that they're able to actually help you in the time of actual need. Now, one thing I do want to kind of make sure to share with you is that the reality is that therapy and coaching is an investment. And I actually want to say that again. It truly is an investment in your personal, your emotional, your mental well-being. And the short-term investment that you're making today is going to have a long-term return on investment because the tools that you're learning today and investing in yourself are going to be the tools that you're carrying forward for the future, for how to deal with sort of future stresses and overwhelmed, because let's be honest, that's never ever going to go away. Now on the coaching realm, a lot of times coaches, including myself, have different sort of programs and different sort of investment styles. So you can work one-on-one with a coach. There's small group coaching programs that are actually available. There's even a lot of times online do-it-yourself study programs to help you get the support that you need, depending on where you are in your journey and where you are in your investments. The first step is actually to acknowledge that just admitting that you need help and that you're seeking for something is actually a really, really huge step. And I just want to celebrate the fact that you want that because there is that stigma and there can be a lot of sort of hesitations to move that way. So just acknowledging that you are searching for that help is something really, really big and actually acknowledge. Okay. Second step in actually finding someone is there's a lot of different resources out there from both therapy and coaching. And you want to find someone who is qualified. Okay. So please making sure that you're actually reaching out and asking their qualifications, asking their certifications for coaching so that you're actually seeking someone who actually is qualified to help you. The place that I actually recommend you starting is friends and family. Not friends and family to actually get the help, because the benefit of working with a therapist or coach, one of the biggest benefits is the fact that you're working with someone completely unbiased, right? They don't know your history. They're not the person who's actually going to kind of enable you and pat you on your back and actually say, it's okay, right? They're actually there to give you the tools that you need to move forward. But talking to friends and family, you'll probably be surprised as who's actually seeking help, because it is becoming a more normal thing. And trusting the friends and family, likely they're going to suggest someone that you're going to connect with on an emotional level, connect with on a personality level, connect with on a character level. Okay. Lastly, one thing to keep in mind with the affordability in your first step is there are a ton of free resources out there for you. There's tons of books, there's tons of podcasts, right? Everything that's actually at your fingertips, things that you can actually seek out at the library. So these tools are really there to supplement your journey working with a therapist or a coach, because you do want that accountability, you do want that unbiased opinion, you do want that sort of really that these people are the best at what they do, right? So they've actually lived through this, so they're able to give you tools that you know are going to work, that are efficient and that have been proven time after time. But noticing that the actual supplement's there, so you can actually utilize a lot of those free resources to get an idea of what direction you want to be able to go to for help. Please know that really being in a place where you need to be able to seek help. And I will say, I'm a professional coach. I myself work with both a coach and a therapist at the exact same time. I have for years. I can't imagine never not working with a therapist or a coach in the future. And just know that you may be scared to reach out for help, and that's okay. And the goals of actually what you're going to be able to receive from both therapy and coaching is going to be the tools that you are going to be able to use for the rest of your life. And if you're sitting here and you're hesitant of actually reaching out for help, I want you to ask yourself this one question: is what's going to change if nothing changes? So thanks for tuning in, for watching this episode. More episodes are actually coming, and you can join us for next week. And if you want some more information, please join me at thehappyandhealthyplace.com.